For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today, and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
News team, assemble!
Joining us live, because if you want to know anything about the Outer Banks, Sam Walker's the dude to fill you in.
The sea was angry that day, my friends. Like an old man trying to send back soup in a deli.
Always appreciate talking to you.
Always good stuff with Sam Walker in the Outer Banks.
Now here's Les Nessman and the news.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to OBX Today, live on Facebook and YouTube, presented by Gallup Funeral Services. I'm Sam Walker. Tuesday, January 4th, 2022 edition, and waking up to, well, the after effects, the continued effects from this latest coastal storm that sprinted through yesterday and brought us just about every weather type you can imagine. We've already experienced all four seasons in the first 4 days of 2022. I mean, think about it. We hit 80 in New Bern on Sunday. Yesterday, the high was 75 at Frisco. We had thunderstorms, we had snow, we've had ocean overwash, sound side flooding, a little bit of everything. 10 inches of snow out in the mountains. I-95 shut down between Richmond and D.C., or between Richmond and Fredericksburg right now. Just all kinds of chaos, all within the first 4 days of the year. Great. 2022 looks like it's really going to be fun. Let's get to our breaking news this morning. We do have breaking news from Hatteras Island this morning. This is our live shot from surfchecks.com from just south of Avon Pier. I'm going to shift up to Rodanthe, give you a better idea. You can see all the overwash that has happened. We're not so much overwash, but you can see how close the waves are breaking up to the dunes in Rodanthe, and that is why we do have this situation. Highway 12 is shut down this morning. This is the latest photo just in from the North Carolina Department of Transportation. Highway 12 Twitter account showing a breach of the dune at S-turns north of Merlo Beach, north of Rodanthe, and they have shut down Highway 12 to traffic. That happened about 15, 20 minutes ago. This breach has been getting worse as we're coming up on high tide, which is around 8:30 this morning. There's a fairly recent shot. You can see traffic stopped or turned around at Merlo, right at the last house. This is the camera just at the end there of Merlo Beach. Way off in the distance, if you look, she can see it that well, but you can see water standing over the road. That's at Corbina Drive, which is a known problem for overwash as well, where the water just comes right up over the dune and down that road. And you can see over to the left, the dune run up here between the last several houses in Merlo Beach, and Highway 12 again is shut down. Of course, now the latest image not available, but this is what it looked like just a short time ago. Highway 12 is shut down between Oregon Inlet and Rodanthe. This was a shot from about 10 minutes ago at Buxton at the motel. It's kind of blurry because of the salt and debris on the camera, but you can see the water pouring over between the motels. They're coming into Buxton. That's a school bus that's traversing its way on Highway 12 there in a Jeep. A dumpster sitting right here. That dumpster kind of has a tendency to get floated across Highway 12 now on a regular basis because of the overwash. They did have overwash there yesterday with high tide in the morning, and again, we're seeing it today. A little bit more power in the waves this morning than we were kind of expecting. Brett Barley's got a nice breakdown on his Facebook page talking about that the swell from this system is moving off. From the system moving off, a bit more energy this morning than expected. 14 to 15 second period with at Oregon Inlet. That's kind of in line with what he was expecting. More of an east-northeast angle compared to more northeast or north-northeast. That's what's causing the overwash. It's more of an easterly wind swell than expected. 3 to 5 seconds of extra swell period is a huge difference in energy and surge. So, 14, 15, 16-second period, or you start getting a shorter period, that's when things really start to get bad. And it is bad at S-turns, as we noted, and that is why you got the closure. And you can see how pretty strong the waves are. This is the Rodanthe shot. We'll shift back to Avon, and you can see how well it's breaking up underneath the Avon Pier right now. Compare that to what's going on down on the south beaches of Hatteras, and it's not too bad at all there because we got more of the offshore wind now. I'm going to shift back up to Kerala. This is at Kerala Light, and then a lot of blur. That camera's got to get clean, so that's kind of why we didn't go with that image this morning. Here's what was the latest shot. Yeah, that's Jeanette's Pier, just south of Jeanette's Pier, actually next to the Comfort Inn South at Whalebone Junction. That's how things look right now. So you can see how angry the ocean is this morning, but especially at Rodanthe, back to that shot, and how violent things are there, and the same thing at Avon, and that's why we're getting the overwash reported like we are, and that dune breach again at Highway 12. At S-turns has been breached. We haven't got any reports yet from P Island, but most likely that's a problem up there. But the closure is because of the breach that's happened in the last 30, 45 minutes at S-turns at Merlot Beach, north of Rodanthe. But I'm sure we're getting overwashed. High tide at Oregon Inlet this morning is at 8:48. So we are in the high tide now. Between the next hour or so is when high tide is coming up. Going to switch back over to some of the flood gauge data here because we've seen the water levels increasing in some spots on the sound side, but I'm going to start with the ocean side first and pull up the tide gauge at Duck. This is from the Flood Inundation Mapping and Alert Network project in North Carolina Emergency Management, along with the National Weather Service and NOAA. It's called FIMAN, FIMAN. .nc.gov. If you go there, you can pull up the same data that we're seeing. Looks like we're going to see about 4 feet above 4 feet is what we're expecting with today's high tide. Actually, we just hit that 4.2 feet at Duck Pier. Now, yesterday it was at 4.8. That was the peak yesterday morning with high tide. We're hitting the peak now at 4 feet. So, again, we've got this higher than normal tide. We're getting the higher and lower than normal tides because we've got a new moon. Today, also, the Earth actually makes its closest pass to the sun today, and that is helping to boost the tides as well. So that's why we've seen higher and lower tides than we normally get for a day today because, again, a new moon and the orbit of the Earth is passing its closest spot to the sun this year is today. I'm going to scroll on down to some of the maps or some of the flood gauges down farther south. Let's hit Oregon Inlet Marina right now. And again, water levels have gone down quite a bit from yesterday. Yeah, it's only about 1.5. That was when it's expected to peak today at Oregon Inlet Marina. We do still have a coastal flood advisory sound side for Ocracoke and south. I'm going to switch on our Ocracoke camera this morning. See the water's up to the bottom of the docks almost in Silver Lake right now. Let's see here. Yep, there we go. That's a live shot from Silver Lake in Ocracoke this morning. The gauge there is right over by the ferry dock there on the opposite side. You see the building there, which is the old Coast Guard station, now the North Carolina Center for the Advancement of Teaching. And that's where this gauge is located that I'm looking at right now. And it is at 1.6 feet. That's, let's see. Yeah, we've had a couple of peaks. Yeah, it's not going to be a major flood issue today. Yeah, 1.9 is what they're forecasting for 9 o'clock this morning at Ocracoke. That's almost to the monitor level, but it's not quite as high as it could be. So about maybe 1 foot, about a foot above ground flooding there. But that's at Ocracoke. That's really the only place left on the Outer Banks that's seeing any of the sound side flooding this morning is along Ocracoke, but it's not too bad. But our main concern, again, is Highway 12 at Merlo Beach is shut down between Oregon Inlet and Red Anthony because of the overwash we've experienced with this morning's high tide. We'll take a break, come back, and look back at some of the video and the latest on the storm yesterday, plus the situation up, around the state and around Virginia as well this morning here on OBX Today Live.
For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
All right, back here on OBX Today Live on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Sam Walker. Again, if you're just joining us, Highway 12 is closed between Red Anthony and Oregon Inlet this morning because of worsening conditions with the dune breach at S-Turns and Merlo Beach. Taking a chance to look back at some of yesterday's photos and video. If you haven't had a chance at obxtoday.com, you can do that right now. This was from Beth Midget yesterday, showing the soundside flooding at her home in Hatteras Village yesterday. This was about mid-afternoon, roughly about 2 o'clock, when the water had started to come up. Ended up about 3 feet in some spots yesterday as that wind shift happened, and we went from the southwest, or rather northeast wind, to a northwest wind, and that blew all the water down the sound. We really went from an east to a northwest and blew all the water down the sound. That water was up pretty high here in my house. Did some damage to our neighbor's dock and washed up the lumber. You can see here all out in our yard from their dock. They lost the section of their dock as well. But you can see how high the water was here on this end of the Currituck Sound. It's down 2 feet this morning. It's already back down. That's how fast it can change here. This was yesterday, and the water was up to the bulkhead and then breaking with those three. And this was before things even got worse. We had even worse conditions in the morning hours and before the wind shifted to the northwest, and some pretty big breakers. I'm probably 3-4 foot, maybe even some 5s in there. Coming across the Currituck Sound yesterday. That water's down by almost 2 feet this morning, and it's still a little bumpy out there, but not anywhere near as bad as it was yesterday. Let's see. That's, I'm going to go back one shot here. I don't want to jump too far ahead. Show you that image there. That was actually from up in Chesapeake, where a barge hit one of the towers. Carries power lines across Elizabeth River. We'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, so some of the stuff from yesterday. Let's see here. I've got that wind noise. Let me stop these videos. There we go. All right. So just running through some of the data from yesterday. The wind speeds peaked. Yesterday, the highest wind gust reported at 86 miles an hour at 1:48 yesterday afternoon. That was at the Oregon Inlet Coast Guard Station. That was not with the thunderstorms. That was actually after the thunderstorms had passed. Earlier in the morning, we had Avon with a 66 mile an hour wind gust at 10:12. That was the highest during the line of thunderstorms went through in the morning. The highest wind gust overall again happened after we saw the wind shift, after the low went offshore, and started to rapidly intensify. That was 86 miles an hour on the elevated station at Oregon Inlet. It's about 40 feet off the ground. So that's going to be a higher reading than your normal 10-meter height that they like to have the wind, the anemometers to measure winds. Kitty Hawk Kites Resort in Waves, 63 miles an hour. Avon, 66. That Kitty Hawk Kites Resort measurement of 63, that happened again in the afternoon around 2:44 p.m. Rodanthe at 57. Frisco at 56. That was at the Hatteras weather station. That's the Cape Hatteras weather point, or Frisco, actually Billy Mitchell Field at Frisco, which is where Cape Hatteras, when you're talking about the climatology, that's the official reporting station, is located there. Of course, it used to be where the soccer fields now are at Cape Hatteras Schools, back on Backwoods Road. That was where the National Weather Service had an office until the early 90s. Before that, it was, of course, at various locations. It's kind of moved around, but the automated reporting sensor for Hatteras, Cape Hatteras, is now located at Billy Mitchell Field, has been for about 20 years. And again, that's where the record high yesterday of 75 was recorded, and then we get a 56-mile-an-hour wind gust yesterday morning with the thunderstorm. So pretty much that was the typical 50 to 60-mile-an-hour winds along the beaches for the gust, and those mostly were with the thunderstorms. So it was kind of some with the thunderstorms and some of this high gust also after the low passed offshore and made its way out to sea. Now, trash service was interrupted yesterday in Dare County in multiple spots. They will be finishing those up in Kitty Hawk, Collington, Roanoke Island. Hatteras Island they didn't even get to, and it looks like that may get delayed. Although they were out there this morning, maybe a little bit slower for all the commercial pickup in Hatteras Island today. Or at least Hatteras Village, Rodanthe Waves, and Salvo. Also, all businesses in Stumpy Point, East Lake, and Mans Harbor are scheduled to be picked up today. Some pretty extended power outages because of branches that were down. They had a major one right around the Airport Road and Sunnyside area of Roanoke Island. Power was out for most of the day there. And also it was 120 customers were affected because of some pretty bad damage to the power lines feeding the Airport Road area and Sunnyside. That circuit was damaged pretty heavily. And then also Swan Beach just had a hard time getting up there because of the weather, trying to get the crews up there to work after power went out in Swan Beach yesterday for much of the day. We talked about the water levels peaking anywhere from 1 to 3 feet. 3 feet seems to be the worst that we had reported in Hatteras Village, with 1 foot to 2 feet elsewhere from Avon, or from Waves south on Hatteras Island yesterday, with the sound side flooding. As far as the storm itself off to the west, North Carolina got, we had snow flurries on the coast in some spots, mainly across the bridges. Didn't really see it on the beach yesterday. Y'all might have seen 1 or 2, but not much. It was mostly on the mainland that we saw any flurries. Peak of 100,000 customers in the dark at one point yesterday. Several inches of snow made travel difficult in the Boone area. The Blue Ridge Parkway closed throughout North Carolina. There were some spots, 10 inches of snow was reported in at least one spot out on the North Carolina mountains, and then kind of a dusting to a couple of inches. But really the problem out there was that it was a problem with getting the accumulating snow as our soil temperatures were so high. I talked about that yesterday, that it was not going to be a major accumulation event. Turned out to be a little bit more as you go farther north. And that was where I wanted to get to next. Up in Northern Virginia, things are just a nightmare up there. I-95 in Stafford County has been shut down for much of the night. It was 14 hours for some drivers in Prince William and Caroline counties between, let's see, what are we looking for? Yeah, they've been using the emergency, the I-95 express lanes to get fuel to people who ran out of fuel last night because they were stuck. 48-mile stretch of I-95 remains closed in Northern Virginia this morning because of the icing situation, the snow situation, and then crashes and the inability to get to clear those roads. They were in a process of trying to get traffic turned around in some spots, get them off of I-95, get them onto 301 and US 1 to be able to move, but we're not having much luck with that. So a very wild scene up in Northern Virginia this morning. Let's see, where is that photo from Brendan Ponton at Channel 3? Here's, I was going to show this earlier, or showed it to you briefly if you were with us. That is one of the power high voltage transmission towers along the south branch of the Elizabeth River, right next to the high-rise bridge where I-64 crosses the Elizabeth River at Drawbridge. And there's those two power line structures that run across the river there. One of those got hit by a barge yesterday. Dominion says it's not interrupting power, that they feel like it's not going to collapse. They're trying to work on solutions to fix it. There's several major transmission lines that go across the Elizabeth River in that area. So they said it wasn't going to affect power for the folks in Chesapeake. But again, a barge came loose yesterday in the winds and the high tides yesterday up on the Elizabeth River in Chesapeake and hit that structure. So if you're headed up on 64 today or anytime soon, you may see that and say, what's going on? That's what happened. So those you maybe watching from out of town and come down that way, if you come by way of the Monitor Merrimack on that end of 64 to get to the Outer Banks, that's the area we're talking about, that drawbridge in Chesapeake. All right, that's what we got for you on the storm. We'll take a break, come back here on OBX Today Live. Those of you just joining us this morning, reminder that Highway 12 is closed between Rodanthe and Oregon Inlet now this morning because of overwash at Merlot Beach. Back with you in just a moment here on OBX Today Live.
For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
You've decked the halls, hung the lights up with care, and now the season's over and you find yourself wondering what to do with your Christmas tree. Well, here's some quick tips and information to help make your natural tree disposal a breeze. Remember to make sure that all decorations, such as lights, ornaments, and tinsel, have been removed from your tree before disposal. If you're in Duck, mark your calendars for January 3rd, 4th, 10th, and 11th, as the Town of Duck's Waste Management will collect trees on their regular Monday and Tuesday collection routes. In the town of Kill Devil Hills, the town will begin collecting natural trees from the curbside beginning Wednesday, January 12th. Trees need to be placed on the curbside no later than Tuesday, January 11th. For residents of Kitty Hawk, simply place your unwanted trees curbside, and the town will pick them up in a timely fashion. The sooner you put them out, the sooner they will be removed. If you're in the town of Manio, place Christmas trees without decorations next to your roll carts during the regular Monday and Thursday sanitation runs. Public Works will remove these trees. For the town of Nags Head, place your tree by the side of the road in front of your property. Christmas trees will be collected as part of the town's monthly curbside bulk item brush collection service. Please set your tree in a separate pile from the rest of your bulk items that need to be collected. For residents in the town of Southern Shores, Christmas trees may be placed in your limb branch piles for collection during your scheduled sector. Wreaths are not included and will not be collected. Visit southernshoresnc.gov for your sector's limb branch pickup schedule. If you live in the unincorporated areas of Roanoke Island, Hatteras Island, Collington, Martins Point, East Lake, Mans Harbor, and Stumpy Point, Dare County encourages you to bring your used Christmas trees to either its Buxton or Manio recycling collection centers, where it can be then recycled into mulch. If you have any questions or would like more information about Christmas tree disposal, contact your local municipality.
And of course, if you want to recycle your tree in another way, which is to have it put on the dunes to help rebuild them, and that's what some of the towns do. So some of they do grind them up in the mulch, but some do participate in the recycling where the trees are put on the dunes. There are certain rules that go with that. The Islander Motel has always been collecting them there in Nag's Head. Several other spots will be collecting them as well, and we'll have details on that as we get them for you at obxtoday.com. All right, let's get into some of the other news this Tuesday morning. Currituck County has won the latest round of a legal dispute over how it spends millions in occupancy tax dollars collected primarily from Outer Banks vacation rentals and hotels in Corolla, Swan Beach, and Corova Beach. Superior Court Judge Waylon Sermons Jr. delivered the ruling following a December 6 hearing in Pasquotank Superior Court, where he granted the county's motion for summary judgment while denying the Corolla Civic Association's partial motion for summary judgment. County Attorney and Interim County Manager Ike McCree said in a statement issued yesterday the county is pleased with the court's ruling, which is an affirmation the county has used occupancy tax revenue in accordance with state law and is a good steward of public funds. The association responded to the county's news release in a Facebook post yesterday afternoon. They said there are two sides to every story and we're evaluating our options. You should note that the trial court judge did not issue a formal legal opinion, merely an email with a cryptic statement that he found for the defendants on the summary judgment motion, followed by, quote, "These are very interesting legal issues, and I look forward to how my appellate colleagues will view them." The association went on to say in their post on Facebook that thus the trial court judge perhaps decided that interpretation of the statute was better addressed at the Court of Appeals level. They went on to say it should be remembered that the organization that was a driving force behind getting this North Carolina legislature to change the language of the occupancy tax statute, the North Carolina Travel and Tourism Coalition, agrees with us. Stay tuned. The Corolla Civic Association and 23 property owners filed suit in May 2019, claiming the county improperly spent occupancy tax revenue and requested up to $40 million be transferred from the county's general fund back to the occupancy tax fund. The suit alleged nearly all of the tax charged on hotel rooms and vacation rentals was collected on the Currituck Outer Banks, but the money has been mostly spent on projects on the mainland. That includes construction and operation of a recreation center, YMCA, and sports facilities in Maple, the Currituck Rural Center in Spot, renovations of Currituck Veterans Park in Coinjock, a loan to the water system supplying the lower Currituck banks, among others. Plaintiffs also said the money went to non-tourism related items such as law enforcement and public safety services above and beyond what the state statute allows. A major point of contention from the association over the occupancy tax has been apparent inaction by the county to address rapid erosion of stretches of beach and dunes on the Currituck Banks. They claimed in the suit filed in 2019 that less than $50,000 have been spent at the time on sand loss, mostly through grants for oceanfront property owners to pay for sand fences and beach grass planting. In an October 2019 order, Judge Sermons denied CCA's request for a preliminary order enjoining Currituck County's use of occupancy tax revenue for public safety purposes. Last July, the judge dismissed the constitutional claim that Currituck County was improperly spending occupancy tax dollars. And Sermons also granted the county motion to remove former county manager Dan Scanlon and members of the Board of Commissioners as defendants from the lawsuit, clarifying that the defendants were only the county itself and the Tourism Development Authority. So that's the latest on that Currituck County occupancy tax lawsuit. We do, in our conversations with folks at the Corolla Civic Association in the past, they said they are willing to take this as far as they have to in the court system. So it looks like this will probably head to the Court of Appeals before it is decided. If you're out on West 3rd Street in Killable Hills today, heads up because it's going to be closed or scheduled to be closed today until 2 o'clock at the Apache Street intersection. That's for the continuing utility and roadway improvements project that's been going on by Fred Smith Company. Detours around that closure, but again, that closure is scheduled until 2 o'clock today. West 3rd Street at Apache Street. as they continue to make their progress from Bay Drive up to the bypass on getting those new utility lines in. Because of increased COVID-19 cases in the state, Marine Fisheries Commission Advisory Committee meetings planned for later this month will now be moving to web conference only. The Northern Regional Advisory Committee meeting will be January 11th at 6 p.m., the Southern Regional at January 12th, and the Finfish Advisory Committee January 13th. As a preface to the Advisory Committee meetings, the division said it will hold a web-only listening session about the draft Southern Flounder Fishery Management Plan Amendment today or tomorrow at 1 o'clock. That's where division staff are expected to present details of the draft amendment and allow the public opportunity to ask questions. And that presentation will be recorded and posted on the Southern Flounder Amendment 3 webpage at 5 p.m. on January the 6th. So, again, tomorrow at 1 o'clock is the draft Southern Flounder Fishery Management Plan Amendment meeting with the Coastal Marine Fisheries Commission, or rather with the Marine Fisheries Commission and the State Division of Marine Fisheries. And we'll get some links up to that at obxtoday.com on the H2O page about that. Coming up at the top of the hour, we got a story that's going to be posting, actually a video. Dare County has produced a new video all about commercial fishing. And we'll have some highlights of that video for you on the show tomorrow, but that's going to post at 9 o'clock. It's rather interesting. It's narrated by Benny Baldwin, who's one of the great video producers here on the Outer Banks. And we'll be running on Dare County's Current TV. But we're posting it up at 9 o'clock this morning, and kind of a breakdown on what it's about, trying to preserve and protect the heritage of commercial fishing here on the Outer Banks. All right. Again, a reminder of breaking news this morning. Highway 12 between Rodanthe and Oregon Inlet is closed to traffic because of breach at Merlo Beach that has gotten worse, and DOT wants to wait till high tide to be out there trying to move that water and sand off the road and reopen it to traffic. There is some overwash also reported in the normal trouble spots, such as the motels in Buxton and also in Avon and also up north on P Island. All right, so take a break, come back, look at sports coming up here on OBX Today Live.
For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today, and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
All right, back here on OBX Today Live with a quick look at sports. High school basketball gets cranked back up today in earnest. Cape Hatteras hosting Northside, or at least they're scheduled to. Camden is at first flight among the local teams in action today. College basketball tonight, NC State and Virginia Tech. That's a 7 o'clock start. Florida State and Wake Forest at 7. Duke home at 9 o'clock to take on Georgia Tech, and Virginia at Clemson at 9. And NFL Monday Night Football goes to Pittsburgh, beating Cleveland. All right, our OBX Today Weather Center forecast. We're going to see sunny skies. Still a little breezy out there. Highs only around 45. North winds 15 to 20. They'll be dropping to 5 to 10 this afternoon. Some gusts to 25 at times. We have a high surf advisory that continues with this morning's high tide. Tonight, partly cloudy. A slight chance of showers overnight. Temperatures will be rising as we go through the overnight hours to 53 by sunrise tomorrow. Northeast winds shifting to the southeast at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Wednesday, showers scattered about tomorrow, partly sunny and 62. It's going to be like hit and miss. Wednesday night, maybe a shower. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and 45. Sunny and 55 Thursday. Friday, sunny and breezy, a high 49. Sunny and 48 Saturday. Showers Sunday and 62. Showers and 54 on Monday. Coastal rain forecast. Small craft advisory continues. 2 to 3 foot waves in the sound seas, 6 to 9 feet. Next tide change in Oregon Inlet, just a few minutes away. High tide at 8:48. That's what we're seeing with that overwash this morning. Sunset tonight at 5:01. Sunrise tomorrow is at 7:12. And currently outside the studios in Uptown Nags Head, we've got sunny skies and 38 degrees with wind chill of 29. And that is going to do it for this edition of OBX Today live here on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Sam Walker. Again, Highway 12 is closed between Rodanthe and Oregon Inlet this morning. That's because of that overwash. There's that breach at Merlo Beach, S-turns, Highway 12. Of course, a couple more months, and we won't even have to worry about that anymore because the Jug Handle Bridge will be open. So, but at least one more time, we're having to deal with it. We'll keep you posted with the latest at obxtoday.com. And if we need to, we can jump on here on Facebook Live with any breaking updates. Looks like this is just going to be a couple hours, and they'll get it cleared. It's not expected to get much worse, but could, and that could slow the cleanup there. So have yourself a great Tuesday, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow here on OBX Today Live on the OBX Today Facebook page and the Sam Walker OBX YouTube channel. Make sure you mash the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell to know whenever we go live. We'll see you tomorrow.